What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Tonight, we're going to be talking about the Seiko SKX 007. Now, if you are a big watch collector, if you like watches, likely you have probably heard of this watch, if not have owned it at least once in your time of collecting. If you're new to watch collecting, this is a very popular watch for good reason, and we'll talk about that tonight. So, like I said, this is the 007. There are other variants to this watch. There are smaller watches. There's a Pepsi colored watch that's blue and red. This is the 007, which is, in my opinion, my favorite. So let's talk about this one tonight. So let's go over the specs first. We have a 42.5 millimeter diameter watch. The lug is 22 millimeters. Whoops, sorry, almost knocked it over. 13 millimeters thick, and we got a very compact lug to lug of 46 millimeters. Now on paper, if you have smaller wrists like me and you see a 42.5 diameter watch, you might be deterred to buying it, but Seiko does a great job with wearability in general with all their dive watches actually. But the SKX especially, the 46 lug tip to lug tip is a very comfortable fit. So let me just give you a wrist shot right away, just so you know what I mean. I have a 6 3/4 inch wrist, and I gotta say it's very, very comfortable. It does not feel overly large on my wrist at all, and it's actually very comfortable. And that is a huge part to the lug tip to lug tip, 46 millimeters. It's a thick watch, don't get me wrong. It's definitely has some wrist presence. It's got some heft to it, but it is very wearable. And if you're still deterred by this size, they have the Seiko SKX 013, which is, I believe, 38 millimeters, so it's even smaller. So a great watch all around. Unidirectional bezel, 120 clicks. So as you can see, has a very good feel. And I prefer the Jubilee bracelet. It's a great bracelet. It's very, very comfortable. It comes on a rubber strap as well if you want, but if you're gonna get one with the Jubilee bracelet. It's got a lot of give. It's definitely not the most well-built Jubilee bracelet. As you can see, it's kind of cheap, it dangles, but to anyone that owns one of these, you know it's very, very comfortable. Now, the beautiful thing about this watch is you get a lot for your money. They discontinued these watches, but if you get these, they are still available online, new or used, anywhere from $200 to $300, even cheaper depending on the condition. So, very good. Let's go over some more information. You have the Seiko 7S26 movement in this watch. It is a 21 joule, 21,600 beats per hour. So that means the second hand ticks 6 times per second. As you can see by how it's moving. It's not a fast beat movement, but that's how it's ticking. You got a day-date complication. And as you can see on the bottom, it says divers 200 meters for 200 meters of water resistance. Now this watch is ISO certified, which basically means it's been tested and it's certified to be a scuba diver's watch. On the back, it also says scuba divers, as you can see right there. And you have a nice little picture of the Hokusai wave. I think I'm pronouncing that right. As you can see, I've worn this for about 2 years now. It's got some scratches, got some dings, but hey, that's what it's built for. It's a very tough watch. So, yep, 7S26, scuba divers, stainless steel. It's got a hardlex crystal, which is basically Seiko's version of, or Seiko's made version of a crystal. People like to complain that, you know, it's not a sapphire crystal, but hardlex is still very tough. It's just a grade or two below hardness on the Moore's hardness scale. I think I'm pronouncing that right. It's either Mohs hardness scale, and it is just slightly less hard than sapphire. So you can't get everything for $200-300, but as you can see, there's no scratches on this watch at all. I've worn this very frequently, and it's held up pretty well. This is a great beater watch, guys. I mean, you can wear this in the pool, doing yard work, and it's gonna hold up. Now back to the 7S26 movement. Like I said, 21 joules, 21,600 beats per hour. It has about a 41-hour power reserve, and it has a 4,800 amperes per meter anti-magnetism rating. So that basically means it's anti-magnetic to an extent, and it has a Seiko Dia shock shield system built into it. So it is shock-proof to an extent, and it is anti-magnetic to an extent. So all around, I mean, it's great. And that's why it meets ISO certification ratings. I don't know all that goes into being ISO certified, but being anti-magnetic, being water resistant, and being shock-proof, I believe, to an extent, all have to be within a certain parameters to make it ISO certified. So that's how it is. And as you can see at the 4 o'clock position, has a screw down crown. And with the 7S26 movement, it does not hack, and it does not have any hand winding. So a lot of people complain about that, but it's just a very simple movement. They introduced this movement back in 1996, and it has since been discontinued. They've moved on to the 4R35 movement, which does hack and hand wind. But, you know, if you want to get this, you know, your SKX going and you haven't worn it in a while, you just give it a shake, or you wear it on your wrist for a while, and it's gonna go. So you can't get this thing exactly lined up with atomic clocks because, you know, you can't hack it, but that's all right. And the accuracy of these movements are gonna vary from watch to watch because they aren't, you know, regulated. So I get about 13 seconds per day fast on this on my time grapher, which for, you know, a sub $500 watch, I'm fine with, guys. It's all, you know, it keeps the time, it's tough, and it's not, you know, like I said, it's not calibrated or, you know, all that. So it's going to be, the time's going to be off a little bit, but that's all right. I'm not going to be too much of a stickler when it comes to a watch like this. So another great thing about this watch is the lume. It has LumiBrite lume, and this thing is a freaking torch in the dark. So let's give you guys a lume shot right now. There you go. So as you can see, everything's lit up. It's got the second hands has a lollipop, and the 12 o'clock on the bezel is also loomed, so you can see what it is at night. And this lasts all night. So I've worn this last night, and the lume was still good at 5 in the morning. I could see what time it was, and it worked out great. So another good option. All right, can't find the plug now. Give me a sec. Crap. Boom, there we go. So let's go to the pros and cons of this watch. So the pros, let's go over the pros first. The size and wearability is a huge plus for me. It's durable, it's ISO certified. Basically, you can wear this and you won't have any worries. I mean, this thing is gonna last. You can beat the piss out of this watch. It's still gonna run. The bracelet, let's go back to the bracelet. I didn't mention this, but it's got 5 micro adjustments, which I think is great. Some watches only have, you know, 2, 3, but you have 5 on this thing. So you really don't have an excuse to get a bad, you know, not have a good fit. It is, you know, you can take the links out, you can micro adjust to 5 options, which is great. And the bracelet does taper from 22 down to about 18. So might not be able to see it too well on the camera, but it does taper. And again, very comfortable. Not the best made bracelet, but like I said, super comfortable, guys. The lume, like I just said, lume is great. And this watch is a strap monster. If you haven't seen any pictures of this thing on social media, I mean, you can put this thing on basically anything and it's gonna look good. I've had a variety of NATO straps on here and they all look great. I just always go back to the Jubilee bracelets because I love how comfortable it is. But you can put this thing on a rubber strap, NATO, even a leather strap, and it looks good, guys. So you really can't go wrong. It's one of those watches that just looks good on no matter what kind of strap you put it on. So to the cons, like I said, 7S26 movement does not hack or hand wind. It's not exactly accurate, but it is very durable. And I haven't heard many people getting this watch serviced unless it's, you know, something catastrophic happens. This thing just runs and runs and runs forever. The bezel is not the greatest. It does have a little bit of give. And if you know anything about Seikos, especially when it comes to the quality of their production, sometimes there is a misaligned chapter bezel. Now this one does kind of line up, It does line up, but I know on a lot of bezels, people get a little OCD and see how it gives a little too, but it does line up enough. It doesn't bother me. So misaligned chapter bezels is a huge one that I hear a lot of people complain about. And the accuracy, I just said that. And power reserve, I mean, 40, 41 hours. A lot of watches now have 80 hours of power reserve. That doesn't really bother me, but it is, some people do complain about that. That doesn't really bother me. And the only one that I could really find on this watch is it does have hollow end links. So if you're changing out the bracelet, you got to be really careful. Sometimes these aren't the strongest, so you can bend them if you're not careful, if you're really clumsy changing them out, but the end links are hollow. But again, that can be fixed buying lots of aftermarket straps. There are tons of bracelets that are, you know, specifically made to fit the SKX series because they're such a popular line. So if that really does bother you, you can always spend the extra money and get it replaced. So that's always a great watch. You know, you can tell it's always a popular watch when you find tons of aftermarket bracelets that are made to fit the watch. So overall, guys, this watch has been discontinued, like I said in the beginning of the video. So if you do want to buy one, I would say, you know, sooner rather than later, because they're not making any more. But there's plenty in the aftermarket. You can buy one used, but I would just go new. I mean, they're not that expensive. And I don't think they're going to go up in price. I mean, it's going to be a cult classic for sure, but I don't think this thing's going to be costing thousands of dollars. You know, it's just not the case, guys. But it's just a great watch in general, and it is discontinued, so they are going to dry up eventually. So get one now, and you won't be disappointed. So if you made it to the end of this video, guys, I do appreciate it. Please press like, subscribe to my channel. I will make a video every week, and thanks for watching, guys. Take care.